These people have come to realize that selling time is not as rewarding as selling a product. That's because a product always outperforms and outlasts a talent or a skill. Time was measured in blocks all over the world until the invention of the mechanical watch. The difference is, by selling time exclusively, you are an entry-level business person. Stop being penny wise and pound foolish with your time. There is no such thing called African time. So what we actually found, and this is a very valuable lesson to share with you guys. So most people fail to realize or understand that everyone is a business person, right? And you might ask, but Swazi, how am I a business person? I just work for one and that's it. And that's the thing. You see, everyone has this one commodity that they are gifted every single day, and that's time. This is the most valuable commodity there is in this world. And it's so valuable, if you run out of it, we'll be holding a funeral in your honor. Like, that's how valuable it is. It's so important. And we are all gifted the same proportion divided into 24 hours. So now, ordinarily as a child, you are sent to school to learn how to read and write. So in a nutshell, you go to school to invest more time on your time. By learning how to read and write, you add value to your time. And after finishing high school, you have two options. So on the one hand, you've got an option of looking for a customer and sell your time at an agreed rate. And we call that getting a low-paying job. That's really bad. Or you could take the second option, which is you could choose to go to university and further invest more time on your time. Now, after completing varsity, you should be able to find a customer and sell them your time at a significantly higher rate. That's because upon completing varsity, you'll have received a receipt as proof that you've invested more time on your time. If it was 3 years, the receipt is labeled, certified, and graduated as a diploma. If it was 4 or 5 years, it's graduated as a degree. Now that you have a receipt that proves that you've paid your dues, meaning you've invested more time on your time, you need to find a customer. And when you do, we clap hands for you and you say you found a high-paying job. So whoever pays you is your customer. You just have to realize and understand that you are a business person. The difference is, by selling time exclusively, you are an entry-level business person. And those who accessorize their time, your doctors, your lawyers, your engineers, your accountants, they've become specialized and they are able to sell their time at a premium rate simply because they have invested more time on their time. And there's another set of people that seem to know and understand that everyone is a business person. They identify themselves as businessmen or entrepreneurs. These people have come to realize that selling time is not as rewarding as selling a product. That's because a product always outperforms and outlasts a talent or a skill. So an athlete or an entertainer can never possibly be able to outperform a product. It's Michael Jordan, the basketball player, versus Air Jordan, the product. A product can be scaled, but you can't do that with a talent or a skill. So if you sleep, your talent or skill also sleeps. Michael Jordan, possibly the greatest basketball player to have played the game, stopped earning an income as a basketball player in 2003. However, tomorrow I can still walk into a shop and buy the Air Jordan sneaker. A product always outperforms and outlasts a talent or a skill. The difference between selling time in its raw form and selling accessorized time is the difference between three people, each respectively selling a loaf of bread, a packet of tomatoes, or a block of cheese, while the fourth person is being resourceful and they sell a tomato cheese sandwich, which is essentially the same ingredients, yet is significantly more priced than the other previous items. The fourth person was simply more innovative. So you have to learn to be more innovative and accessorize your time. So which brings me to my next point, African time. There is no such thing called African time. Now let's break this down. If I say good morning, good afternoon, or good night, I'm greeting you relative to the time of day. Morning is measuring time in blocks from roughly 4 a.m. until 12 noon. That's a time block. Afternoon will be from 12 noon until 4 p.m. That's a time block. Evening from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. That's a time block. And this is true all over the world in isiZulu, in Swahili, in Mandarin, in French, Arabic, or Spanish. All these greetings are referring to a specific time of the day. Time was measured in blocks all over the world until the invention of the mechanical watch. If we agreed to meet in the afternoon and I showed up at 12 noon and you only arrived at 15:30, it will still be afternoon. The fact that I would have waited 3.5 hours it would be of no consequence. It wouldn't matter. It will still be afternoon. When the mechanical watch was invented, we moved from measuring time in blocks and we measured time with precision. Meaning, if we agreed to meet at 1 o'clock and you came 1:15, you'll be 15 minutes late and I'll be gone. Previously, I would have waited 3.5 hours, and yet now I can't even wait 15 minutes. That's because the instrument of measuring time changed. African time refers to a period of time when everyone around the world measured time in blocks. It does not exist. Just delete that from your mind. Now, if African time does not exist and you agree that everyone is in the business of selling time, my question to you is a simple one. Why are you wasting time? Instead of investing more time on your time, stop being penny wise and a pound foolish with your time. Don't be overly concerned about losing a few seconds at the traffic lights because you're running late. Don't be angry for queuing for 5 minutes at the supermarket. Again, you're running late, that's why you're angry. Yet, you're very comfortable, wasting hours at a time, mindlessly scrolling through TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Just don't major on the minors. Instead of wasting time, invest time in reading books. Don't rush to read 24 books in 1 year. Rather, just read 5 good books. Why just 5 books? Reading 24 books, it sounds very impressive, but it doesn't give you enough time to absorb the wisdom that the 24 books provide for you. That's why I say just read 5 books. If you read each book with concentrated focus for 3 months, you'll get the most out of each book. Imagine reading 1 book relative to the area that you want to grow in. In 3 months, think of the knowledge that you could attain from focusing on that 1 book. And you won't just read the 5 books. You move to a zone of studying the book. You study them until they get absorbed into your system. How you think. You see, repetition it deepens the impression. The more you study that 1 book, the more it gets impressed upon your mind. Of the 5 books, I recommend that you have 1 as the foundation. And it's the best-selling book all over the world, year in, year out. And that's the good book. So in Proverbs 24, it says, I once walked by the field of the lazy fool, and void of understanding, thorns and weeds were everywhere, and the stone walls had fallen down. When I saw this, it taught me 1 lesson. Sleep a little, doze a little, fold your arms and twiddle your thumbs. Suddenly, poverty hits and everything is gone. Stop wasting time. This is Hacken Equip, and I am your host, Swazi.N. Remember, desperation always outpunches wisdom. Don't live your life under desperation.